Hey guys, welcome back. Today is the final video in the series of me showing you all of the different things I made for the 2026 Selah fashion show. I'm going to caveat in advance, when I am talking about my significant other in this video, I am no longer dating this individual. We haven't been dating for a while. I just want to clarify now so there isn't any confusion down the road. But anyway, we're still on good terms. And let's go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome back. Today is a little bit of a different video. So recently my boyfriend and I created a teaser trailer for my upcoming fashion show, and I thought it would be really fun to kind of walk through the details of how we pulled this off in 2.5 weeks, from casting to directing to final product, and then show you the video at the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this year's theme is called Selah, and it's inspired by Psalms. Specifically, the word Selah is used when reflecting near the end of a psalm. And so this year's theme, in simple terms, basically is any way you want to reflect on something, whether it be a person, a time in history, an art piece, etc. There you go. So we had to incorporate a decent amount of those elements to make this teaser trailer successful. Now, way back in September, I remember working with my boyfriend and the staff to sort out if he could be the videographer for the show, and I ended up getting him signed as a videographer, which is great. However, it made it very difficult because none of the people in charge this year are very good at communicating. And so my lovely boyfriend and I only got the heads up for the show about 1.5 months ago. Now, what's quite interesting is we have to submit the video at least 2 weeks in advance, but we only got about 1.5 months notice, and we submitted the video last week. So we had to work in a very kind of confusing timeline to get it submitted, but it's all the way submitted, and hopefully it'll be shown at our school's convocation coming this week. But anyway, we ended up deciding that I would do all the storyboarding, set locations, costume design, and he would do the videography, the lighting, the audio. I ended up doing the audio fully and editing at the end, but he managed the clips so that they would be syncopated with the audio fairly decently, and then together we would process it and make sure it looks all nice, and then we submitted it to the team. So we ended up struggling with deciding who to work with. So I have 2 friends. One of them is named Izzy, one of them is named Emma. Izzy is my model for my 3rd garment, the black dress, and she is also the poster model. And so originally we were a little bit nervous about her being also on the video because it would require her to juggle 3 major responsibilities: being the showrunner for the show, being the model already for all the posters and advertisements, and also simultaneously managing shooting a video on top of an intensive she was doing for her degree. And so it was pretty tight. We ended up having another friend of mine as backup, but she never ended up responding in time. But suffice it to say, we went through with shooting. Jonathan cut a bunch of beautiful clips. We ended up filming down by the pond near our library on campus, and then also we filmed in the Hall of Music. And so I wanted to show you a little bit of the raw footage we had taken. It looked so nice. Honestly, I'm very proud of how it worked out. He did a fantastic job. I'm freaking proud of him. But we ended up compiling 2 things. So the original plot idea is a very reflective young woman in pure white, which is usually symbolic. Apparently it cut out. Basically what I was saying is I was going for a pure white theme at the start, which is very reflective and often is a sign of a character in previous time frames or someone who is kind of angelic in nature. And I wanted her to be looking down into the pond, reflecting on life, kind of looking to the sky and being reminded of God's glory. And then when she leans down into the pond, there's a transition, and it switches into a more like demure party kind of like exotic setting, and this is where it switches into the music hall, which is where we ended up filming simultaneously during the rehearsal and also during the show day, which you will see at the end of the video. Then finally, we were working with a designer actually. He ended up filling in for another model that we had who was going to be her escort into the music hall, kind of like one of the old school like Hollywood musical vibes. And he ended up not showing up, so we had a designer help out, and it ended up turning out great. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the first cut of this, and then I will explain kind of the things that we tweaked. So this is the first cut without audio. As you can see, we really wanted to get the kind of reflective aspects of everything into it. So we were practicing with everything. The transition just looked a little slow, and we weren't a huge fan of it, so he sped it up a little bit. And then while this was all going on, I was working on audio editing all of this, and as you can see, we did a lot of transitional shots to different areas. We ended up switching things out in the end to a different ending, and as you can see, the whole vibe was jumping back and forth between the different frames and explaining kind of the story and the idea. And then we ended with her reflecting. Now, if you notice, there was a bit of a gritty end to the video. I don't understand where it came from. I think what happened is it didn't fully download the video correctly when we first edited it, so we had to go back in and fix it. The other thing is the transition shots were really, really slow, which we found out very quickly, so we also went in and fixed that. So here's our version 2, this time with my audio editing in.
What does Sayla really mean? Is it just a pause? Or a reflection? Like looking into a mirror? What do you actually see? Do you stop long enough to notice? Maybe Sayla is more than a pause. Maybe it's a mirror, inviting you to reflect, to see clearly, and to understand what's truly there. In Psalm 46 it says, "Be still and know that I am God. Be still." Selah.
But alas, apparently they were not a huge fan of my voice, so we had to completely edit that out 2 days before the time limit came out. And we were so freaking stressed over this thing. I literally speed audio edited this video in like 3.5 hours in the middle of finals, just to make sure that it sounded right. And finally, we were able to post it. And the icing on the cake, it never ever showed at Convocation. Not at all. But we had a consolation prize. It ended up showing at the start of the show, which I guess isn't half bad. And we ended up adding end credits to it in the end, just to say who directed, co-directed, costume, everything. So I guess there are some perks, if you will. But anyway, after all the headaches and all the chaos for this crazy whirlwind of a project, we finally got our official trailer. So without further ado, here's the final trailer that we produced and ended up showing at the fashion show. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And without further ado, here is our trailer.